How's it going, everybody? I'm Dakkadakkajoe, and today I'm going to be going over Fallout 1 for you guys. Whether you never played it back in the day, or you're just a bit younger and you just now started out after playing the Bethesda entries, this guide will give you some useful tips to at least get your first playthrough down, and be able to carry over some knowledge in your next go-around. Fallout 1 and 2 are vastly different from the other games, being a top-down isometric game that just absolutely doesn't hold your hand. While the core of the franchise is still in some of the later games, a lot is lost in between the transition from top-down to third-person shooter. This is just a vanilla game and does not include the Fallout Fix-It mod, which can be added in new content, but also helps with screen resolution and so on. I'll leave it in the description for you if you'd like to download it and install it later on. If you bought the game, you'll be given a Vault Dweller Survival Guide. Back when physical game discs were a thing, you'd be given a guide to go along with your new purchase. Fallout just drops you in the game and says go. But this was before tutorials were actually built in, so you really have no idea what's going on. The Vault Dweller Survival Guide is actually a really fun read, as for the most part it'll treat you as an actual Vault Dweller and give insights to the world and lore of the game. It also explains how to use the basic controls and so on, but we will get into the main controls later. Also, this tip series will contain no spoilers, even though the other games pretty much do that for you. Tip 1. New game. Alright, starting us off is the character creation screen. There are 3 already pre-built characters, but for this guy we're going to go ahead and make a new character. Name, age, and gender is up to you. I'll be giving you a solid starter build. Now there are a lot of different sections to this screen. You'll see your special stats, which are your core abilities that range from anywhere between 1 and 10. They cannot exceed nor go under this number, so keep this in mind. Simplify it as much as possible without patronizing you. Strength is for carrying stuff, making sure you can use weapons properly and melee damage. Perception is for ranged builds and help you make better shots. Endurance is your total health, and that's really it. Charisma is the most useless special stat in my opinion. All it really does is affect your barter prices, which really don't matter. Intelligence is the most useful stat in the game. It affects dialogue choices and skill points per level. If you take anything less than 4, your character will talk in only a series of dumb grunts and expressions. It's really funny, but there's a lot of unique dialogue. But it's not really good for a starter build. Agility determines your action points, which means how many moves and actions you can take in a turn. And finally, luck affects so much in this game, including random encounters, story elements, and better criticals. Next we have the skills, and we are allowed to tag 3 different skills to make them our main focus. At the top you'll see weapon skills, the middle is useful function skills like lockpicking, healing, and so on. And at the end is what I call people skills, and then at the very bottom, outdoorsman. Ignore outdoorsman, it's totally useless in this game. Tag skills can also exceed the 100% cap and go to 200%, so keep that in mind. You'll also be able to level up these abilities way faster since they are tagged. Next we have the trait section. This is optional perks you can take that will affect your build. You're more than welcome to read through them, but for this build we are taking Gifted. Gifted is widely accepted as the best trait in the game. It gives you +1 to every special stat while having your actual skills take a hit. The bonuses to your special counteract this big hit to your skills. For this we're going to take Gifted and Bloody Mess. All Bloody Mess does is give death animations. If you wanted to, you could take Fast Shot, which reduces your weapon action points by 1 at the cost of targeted shots. In our terms, this means you can't use VATS to target specific body parts. It's great for other builds, but for our Lucky Gunslinger, not so much. For this build, your character's starting stats should look like this. Our 3 tagged abilities will be Small Guns, Speech, and Gambling. While Speech is a charisma skill, all of your dialogue options are based on your intelligence. Still, it's better to have Speech at 100% to pass everything. If you're wondering why I didn't max out stats, it's because you can permanently increase all of your special stats throughout the game. Most of them at the Brotherhood Doctor, your luck at a Fortune Teller, and finally a random encounter with a Bard will increase your charisma. Tip 2. Basic controls. So here's a basic overview of your main HUD. In the middle, you'll have your equipped weapons and items. The big red button switches them. If you click on your weapon or item, you'll pull up the combat screen to fire, or you'll see a yellow reticle. Red means fire, yellow means use item on. Hotkeys are as follows. A starts attack rounds, I for infantry, S for skills, O for game options or escape. C as in cat brings up your character screen. P is your Pip-Boy, it'll show active quests, time remaining, and cinematics. Z as in zebra is wait. Tab pulls up your map, and space to end your turn. If you don't want to click on a dialogue, you can use your number keys to select the dialogue line you want. Just make sure you are pushing the right number as they aren't marked. Open your inventory and pull the 10mm pistol into your first weapon slot, and then a stem pack into the second. If you open your inventory during combat, it'll take up action points, so try to keep your weapons on hand. If you right click and hold, you'll be able to use your binoculars to get more information about anything you're looking at. Pay attention to this box here in the bottom left here to see all the info. If you press S and then click on a skill, you'll get the yellow cursor to use that skill on whatever you want. Also, if you press A before you know a fight is fixing to happen, you'll be able to go first every time, since you are initiating the action first. It's kinda cheating, but oh well. Once you've started combat, you can right click on your weapon to cycle through what you can do with it. A regular shot, a targeted shot, or reload for most guns. The green bar to the right of the weapon represents how much ammo is left. Typically, if you are taking a targeted shot, aim for the eyes, especially when your skill is really high with the small weapons. Just make a judgment call on where to aim early game. There are other icons you'll see throughout the game, but they are pretty self-explanatory, such as talking or looting people. As for right now, the rats are really easy to kill, so go ahead and clear out the cave you start in for good XP in the beginning of the game. You also see the world map here. Just click on the location and it will take you to it. It's simple as can be. There's a few locations that you will have to look for, but if you pay attention to the dialogue, you're pretty much told right where it is. You also don't want to explore a lot, as this is really eating into your overall time left in the game. Tip 3. Talking to people. This is pretty simple, but you really need to talk and pay attention to everyone. It'll help you progress through the game, as there's a lot of side quests that can be started and completed. General rule of thumb is that if they don't move, then they are worth talking to. Also, pay attention to your surroundings, as you can find a lot of extra items and whatnot just by looking. NPCs will also help fill out your world map by allowing you to find locations without actually having to look for them. You'll also see a barter screen here, so you can trade and buy items for caps. Buy a rope, it's important, and get some more 10mm ammo while you are in Shady Sands. Also, head over here and talk to this man. This is Ian, and he will be your first companion. Keep in mind that you can't use them like storage mules. They act just like every other person in the game, and will have you barter with them to get items. Tip 4. Interacting with the world. A lot of Fallout's progression is blocked by either rubble or electronic doors. You'll need items such as rope and keycards to progress through wherever you want to go. Just use these items on these doors or caverns to progress. For example, in Vault 15 after Shady Sands, you won't be able to go down the elevator shaft without a rope. Use the rope on the elevator shaft to go forward. And while you make your way onward through the game, pick up rope whenever you see it just so you have it. It's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. Tip 5. Leveling up. Whenever you level up, it's important to allocate your skills accordingly. You won't be able to do everything this game has to offer in the first run, so different builds and playthroughs get you to experience more of what it has to offer. For this starter build, really focus on your 3 main stats. You want to focus on small guns first, getting it to at least 100. After you do that, you'll be doing the same for speech and then gambling. After that, just level your guns to 200 and increase whatever skill you feel like using after it's maxed. For perks, the main ones are Better Criticals, Sharpshooter, Sniper, and Swift Learner. Swift Learner first, more criticals, better criticals, and then Sniper. There are requirements for perks, but you'll hit them all, so it's all good. You'll basically be shooting the eyes off of everybody for shit tons of damage. Tip 6. Companions. There's a lot of companions in the game, and you can have as many as you want based on your charisma. Still, charisma is a useless stat, so don't worry about it. Just talk to people and take the ones you want. Keep in mind that companions die really fast in this game. If they die, they're dead. They don't get stunned, and there's nothing you can do to bring them back other than reloading a save. Also, keep positioning in mind for companions with ranged weapons, as they can hit and even kill you if you aren't careful. This applies to enemies as later on you'll see super mutants mowing down their allies. It's really funny actually. Tip 7. Gambling. Now finally gambling comes into play to get unlimited caps at the cost of time. Simply go to the Maltese Falcon or any gambling location like in the hub or Junktown, whatever. All you have to do is spam your number keys on the highest caps. With your luck and gambling skills, you'll almost always win. In 10 minutes, you'll have enough caps to buy everything you'll ever need. My favorite is the Maltese Falcon. It is in the hub's downtown area, and across the street you'll be able to buy books and magazines that increase your skills. Tip 8. Books and magazines. These increase your skills permanently up to a cap of 91%, so don't get the guns or speech books. Really just get the outdoorsman books, science skills, and so on. It's a give me tip, but I always have one in these types of videos. Tip 9. Recommended weapons. For this build, we are going to have 2 weapons you can choose from that work the best. I'd recommend the 223 pistol, or if you know it from Fallout New Vegas, it's called that gun, or the sniper rifle. Both use the same ammo type, so you'll need to stock up on that. Keep in mind that ammo actually weighs in these games. The sniper rifle is my personal favorite small guns weapon, as you can be at a very, very far distance and still dome people. Combine this with your critical chance and damage perks and you'll be shooting the fly off a Brahmin's ass. Final tip, tip 10, more game time. So since the main objective is to get the water chip before your vault runs out of water, you might be pressed for time running around the map. If you want to chance it, you can send a water caravan to the vault. However, doing this might alert raiders to the location and will result in an instant game over. Now it's up to you if you want to do it, but with your luck being so high level, you should be fine. There is still a chance, no matter how high the skill is, to instantly lose. I just make like an extra quick slave slot. I just make an extra quick slave slot before you do. And this should get you started in Fallout 1. Make sure to explore, pay attention to dialogue, and go from there. I'd love to hear how this build works for you, or if you're a longtime fan, leave your builds in the comments below. There is a lot you can do with this game, and I didn't even touch on the crazy stuff you can do with fast shot and chems. Now anyway, thanks for watching.